In 2025, I'm going to try to finish reading an entire shelf of books. We've had these books for years and years, and I've never actually finished reading any of them because, I have my e reader and I can download any books I want. But then I figured, that's a bit of a shame. I kind of do want to read all of these paper books that we already have. In January, I already managed to read, I think, about 27 of them because most of them are very short kids' books. So I do think that my Storygraph stats are going to be very weird this year. But yeah, I'm excited. Today is the 1st of February, and these are the 5 books that I finished today. As you can see, all pretty short. I finished the 5 of these within an hour. I do think if I continue like this, that at the end I will only have the long books left over. So I am trying to ration it out a bit, but we'll see how it goes. So that's how I'm spending my gap year. And I thought it might be fun to every once in a while update everyone on here, maybe tell you about my favorite books, which ones I really liked, because there's some really good ones in there. So yeah, stay tuned, and hopefully, if I don't give up, in a few weeks there'll be another video. A couple of videos ago, I told you guys how I was trying to finish an entire shelf of books within a couple of months, and I thought it would be fun to check back in and tell you about some of my favorite books thus far. So for the month of January, which I know has been over for a while, these are my favorite books. The first is The Year of Miss Agnes by Kirkpatrick Hill. It's about a remote school in Alaska where the indigenous children have never had a teacher stay for longer than a year. Their new teacher, Miss Agnes, is different. She teaches them the importance of education. The children find out what it's like to have fun while learning, and they discover their self-worth. Added to that, this is also the book that introduced me to the concept of sign language when I was a child. The second book is The Toby Man by Dick Kingsmith. This is about a young boy who wants to become a highway robber. He does this with his band of animals until he gets into a little more trouble than he bargained for. Can his animal friends help him now? This is a very sweet book about what you put your pride in, and it's also just a fun read. And then the last book was not on the shelf I was trying to finish, but it was one of my favorites in January, so I'm including it anyway. It is called Where is God When It Hurts by Philip Yancey. I know, completely different genre. This book is very good at explaining how to deal with suffering, and I think a lot of Christians could learn from it concerning how to answer difficult questions and how to comfort those who are suffering. So those were my favorite books from January. Hopefully I'll upload the next video soon, and this time on time. See ya! Hello there, and welcome to a new series that I'm starting called Underrated Book of the Week, in which I recommend you some underrated books that you won't usually see on social media. This week's book is Calculated by Nova McBee. It's about young Joe Rivers, who is a math prodigy who gets kidnapped by a crime empire and forced to work for them. I don't want to give away too much, but the book revolves around her trying to take down this crime ring whose main business is trafficking. There is some romance, but I wouldn't say it's the main focus of the book. There's also a lot of plot twists and mysteries, and a lot of different types of relationships that get development. So if you're looking for a book with some high stakes action and romance, this is the one for you. Alright, another month, another update. My favorite books from February. First book, An Alien at St. Wilfrid's by Adrian Plass. This book follows a humdrum church in England. The vicar is struggling to hold on to his faith, the organist questions everything the vicar does, it's a bit of a mess. Then, one day, a small alien called Nunk arrives at the church. He learns to speak English with the prayer book and starts meeting with 4 of the church members. It sounds wacky, but like all Adrian Plass books, it's both super funny and made me cry. It talks about a lot of issues Christians struggle with behind the scenes, things we'd rather not talk about, but that we do feel guilty about. Another 5-star read from February was also an Adrian Plass book called Clearing Away the Rubbish. This is a collection of skits and poetry about the same themes I mentioned earlier, those secret struggles we try to pretend don't exist. Guess who cried once again? A series that I've been reading is called The Blood Heir Trilogy by Amelie Wen Zhao. It's about a girl who has the power to basically bloodbend. It's pretty dark, but what I like about it is how it emphasizes the importance of the choices we make and how we need to actively choose to be good people, despite what the world around us may think or do. Hello, and welcome back to Underrated Book of the Week, where I recommend you underrated books. This week's book is Understood Betsy by Dorothy Canfield Fisher. It's about 9-year-old Elizabeth Ann who lives in the city with her aunt. Elizabeth Ann has been protected since birth and has never learned to stand up for herself. Because of this, she is very shy and scared of everything. One day, her aunt needs to tend to a sick relative, and Elizabeth Ann ends up going to her awful Vermont cousins. There, Elizabeth Ann, or Betsy as the cousins call her, has to do, oh horror, chores. Throughout her stay, Betsy learns to stand up for herself and how to actually enjoy life without fear. But the day arrives when she has to make a decision. Will she stay with her cousins or go back to her aunt? Throughout the book, it is very clear that the author loves her characters. They are all written with a lot of grace and dignity, and so because of this, when character development happens and when you see relationships unfold, it's truly as if these are real people who are standing in the room with you. So, if you are in the mood for a heartwarming, light-hearted read, Understood Betsy is for you. Hello there, and welcome back to Underrated Book of the Week, where I recommend you underrated books. This week's book is a series called The Ravenwood Saga by Morgan L. Buss. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. It's about Celine, who has a magic ability called dream walking. She can enter people's dreams. She can use it for good by making people feel better and more at peace, but she soon learns her gift can also be used for great evil. I don't want to give away too much of the plot, but it's full of intrigue and stealthy missions. There's a very sweet romance arc, and each book we learn more about the world and the magic system. Because Celine barely knows anything about the outside world, we get to learn about it along with her. If you're in the mood for an exciting read with interesting magical abilities, this is the read for you.
You're on the phone with your girlfriend, she's upset. She's going off about something that you said, but she doesn't get your humor like I do. I'm in my room, it's a typical Tuesday night. I'm listening to the kind of music she doesn't like, and she'll never know your story like I do. 'Cause she wears short skirts, I wear t-shirts. She's cheer captain and I'm on the bleachers, dreaming about the day when you
He's singing, she's a lady, and I am just a boy. He's singing, she's a lady, and I am just a line without a oh baby.
So you love him because he's a hero? Let me tell you something about heroes, princess. A hero would sacrifice you for the greater good. I have no such compunction. I would burn this world.
Everybody was kung fu fighting. What do my eyes deceive me? Well, who is he? I didn't know I was lost till our paths crossed. Peter, will you follow me? So who are you and why are you here? I'm just
Where's Rick?
I'm
Don't care. Where's Rick?
You better not mess with my gang, or you'll be messing with Oopie Goopie, General Munchkin Man, Lil Jim Bob, and worst of all, Larry.